I have had to make this video 3 times. I've recorded this video 3 times over the past week to try and get this message out that's been coming up for me. And every time, as I'm filming things on the GoPro now, every time I've done it, the result has been the same. Either the file has corrupted and I've not been able to use it. And these are 30-minute long videos in the raw edit, The microphone, because I'm sometimes using an external microphone, has decided I'm not going to work for the whole video and deal with it. So I'm recording this one out of sheer defiance. But it has started to rain a little bit, so we're going to do this one from the car. I'm just going to park up and we'll talk. Because I have a subject matter that I just want to bring to people's attention. Now, when I'm talking about spiritual materialism here, I'm not saying, you can't make money and live a meaningful life and live a comfortable life just because you're spiritual, or just because you have a heart-based service that you're offering people. I'm not talking about that at all. This, I think, the collective has, for the most part, begun to move past. Because just because you're spiritual, you're not meant to be able to support your family. That's crazy, right? We all have the same basic human needs, and part of that is linked into this financial system that we have to use. In our infancy on our spiritual path, we tend to believe that money is bad as well, don't we? And this also is not true. So we're not talking about this when I say spiritual materialism. No, this for me is about something deeper. And you see it all over the spiritual YouTubes and spiritual TikTok and Instagram, where a fairy tale of spirituality that has been born out of a materialistic, capitalistic, westernized way and westernized culture has come to the forefront. Just do X practice and you'll get $1 million in your bank tomorrow. Or sometimes the videos will say, this is the moment your life is about to change. This video found you. Or some of them say, just change your vibration in this way and you'll have £10,000 tomorrow. And so what becomes engendered in this Western spiritual materialistic view is that if you just raise your vibration to a certain level, you can get everything that you want. Now, traditionally in India, which is the home of these spiritual traditions. They don't own it. Nobody owns spirituality, so don't mistake me here. It's just that was the culture where it was birthed from. But in that culture, spirituality was at the center. It was at the core of everything that was done. And so their culture was built out of that, you see. So it was a culture that was able to have the correct guardrails and support the spiritual journey appropriately. But in the West, we took a different approach. Spirituality was not born of England. No. Wars, conquests were born of England. It wasn't born in the USA or any of these Western first world nations, was it? Our culture has been of conquest, of building, of drive, of ambition. And I'm not saying those things are separate from spirituality, but the culture underneath what we've done, well, you can see it play out in the world. Most of India, no offense, is very slow to progress in these westernized ways that we know. We have every city is fairly clean. Everything is running fairly well. Okay, things are changing a little bit now, but you can see we've progressed on a different timeline in different ways. The Indian culture progressed from a spiritual nexus, and therefore the outward world was less important to them. So you can see they didn't build as many skyscrapers as quickly because that was not of their importance. Again, things are changing now as we all try and align to the Western way because the US is one of the largest powers in the world. And so everybody's trying to take on their culture so that there can be this synergy so that it's easy to do trade. It's good for politics. It's good for economics. And so this has been the drive. But because of the westernized culture, the guardrails in the West are not there for an appropriate spiritual path. And so we think it's about something that it's not, i.e. manifestation or getting nice things, because that's been the drive of the Western culture. It's all about external results. No wonder why we're all so stressed, unhappy, and miserable, and depressed, and some of us suicidal. These are symptoms of a culture that simply isn't working for us. Now, I'm no revolutionary. I'm just talking about the things that I've seen inside of myself. You see, traditionally, when somebody was about to embark on the spiritual journey, they were doing it because they'd realized finally everything out here in the world is no longer meaningful to me in the sense that it's not going to bring me that everlasting fulfillment and joy and peace and bliss that I'm searching for. A person that's beginning the spiritual journey has come to that realization. And so they leave their old life behind. But in the West, we don't have centers or communities that are based upon spiritual development at all. And so those guardrails are missing for people in the West. And so we go to YouTube, we go to TikTok, and we try and learn there. But this is a breeding ground that is not going to be incredibly rich for a sincere spiritual path because things can be misinterpreted. We learn things bit part from all over many, many different places. And not only is that confusing, it also means in our immature Western mindset that a lot of the things that the West care about, especially if we're learning from New Age spiritual stuff, which essentially just means the Western's mindset, which is materialistic, projected onto spirituality, hence why we see that manifestation culture and it's all about do X thing and get this thing in your life. It's still about the external world. It's still about the transaction that we're trying to make with life so that I get all of the things that I prefer, isn't it? Now, when we're early or immature in our path, we can easily, especially if we were born in the West, we can easily get hooked into believing that that is what the path is really about. Now, I'm not saying if you do your practices and you come within and you do all of the stuff that we're teaching online, that your life won't improve. It will, that things won't get better. They will. But you will have to face hardship at times on your path. And if we're doing this from this spiritual materialistic lens, then this, and it may even be a rite of passage, it may even just be a necessary part of the path. But here is where you're going to get incredibly frustrated because what you'll notice is you're basing your spiritual growth or you're assessing your spiritual capabilities based upon how the conditions of your life are. But true, deep, meaningful spiritual growth happens when the conditions of life are not the way that you would prefer them to be. That's when we are able to that's when we're able to use our free will to either go deeper into our spiritual connection. It can be an accelerant for our awakening, or we can use our free will to continue to resist what's happening because the conditions aren't what my spiritual ego believes they should be. And then we're just reinforcing the thing that the true spiritual path was here to set us free from, was here to dissolve, and that's that separate sense of self, isn't it? And so this is how spiritual materialism really becomes a trap and a limiter. Now, I'm not making us wrong if we're in that place, because like I said, it may well be, especially for a Westerner, that may well be the spiritual rite of passage as we give away our illusion of control into that larger intelligence of life. Because they speak in parables, don't they? They say, if we're in alignment with ourselves, we may have the power to move mountains. I think this is one of Jesus's parables or something. But here the misunderstanding is that with the logical mind, with the Western mindset, that they're talking literally. Nobody can move a mountain unless they have ET technology. And maybe in a few years we'll see if that's the case. But it's a parable. It's a story. And what it's saying is if you can connect up to the energy inside of yourself that has manifested you and has manifested worlds and mountains, that is one hell of a power that can move the seemingly immovable. But what that requires is to keep stepping forward in our life into the unknown, into the unseen, with that unseen guiding hand or that unseen power underneath us that we keep connecting to through our practices, keep developing our faith into that and keep stepping forward. And then that power that we are can move mountains, can remove the seeming barriers or obstacles that we place or limitations that we place upon our own existences through the lenses of our limited mind. So maybe this is where you're at. And if you are and you want to come into a deeper connection with life, because you're recognizing that perhaps I might be on some level doing a spiritual materialism journey, then what you'll need is sadhana. Now, sadhana is just your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest level of intensity of energies inside of you so that you can shift your energetic frequency. Not so that you get nice things from life, although your life will definitely improve. Not so that you can bring life under your will. No, because that's just reinforcing that separate sense of self that our sadhana is here to dissolve so that we can be free, so that we can be liberated from the bondages in ourselves, i.e., the mind. Now, if we don't know any of this and we don't have these appropriate guardrails in place for our path, because we're just watching spiritual TikTok, spiritual YouTube, manifestation culture, then our path can very quickly and very easily for a very long time become about something that it was never intended to be anyway. And this is the trap that I'm just wanting to highlight for you, just in case you're in it, not to make you feel bad, but just to make you go, well, maybe there might be a different way then. Anyway, that's all I've got to say to you today. Love you lots. Bye-bye.